So, Michael, I'll say I agree with you that you could learn the whole fretboard without caged, and that if you start with caged, um, it does it might have some limitations. The school that I went to a school in Los Angeles called the Dick Grove School of Music. I went there right out of high school, so I was still fairly young in my life and in my musical development. And up till that point, no teachers had ever mentioned caged to me. And my whole time at Dick Grove School of Music, nobody ever mentioned caged to me at all. And so I learned the fretboard much more the way that you're talking about. I learned it through reading, just, looking at music on the page and trying to figure out how to lay it on the guitar. And quite often not music that was written for guitar, but just music for violin or piano or flute or whatever. So something that's not written specifically for the guitar is for sure not has no affiliation with the caged system. I learned all my notes on the fretboard one string at a time. I learned where all the notes were on the E string and the B string and the G string and the D string. So I learned all of the strings individually. And then I built, and this was at Dick Grove, then they built on top of that all of the triads. So like once you knew where all the F notes are on the fretboard, then you learn where all the F triads are and all the inversions and stuff like that. So I really learned the fretboard through single notes and then triads. And when there was any talk of scales at all, this just might have been kind of the time frame that we were in and how stuff tended to be taught. But anytime there was any talk of scales at all, it tended to be these 3-note per string. Like let's say you wanted to play G major, you would probably play that, which has nothing to do with caged. It's a 3-note per string system, different system. And I didn't really get into thinking in caged until 8 or 10 years ago, when I'd already been playing guitar for a really long time. And the reason that I got into caged was that I became the chair of a music school. I'm the chair of the guitar department of a music school, and they had been teaching the caged system when I got there. They had a course. I can't remember if it was a year or even longer than a year. Maybe it was 6 quarters. Not sure. Anyway, this is a while ago. It was called String Theory, and it was mostly based around the caged system. And so that was really the first time I took a serious look at it. And at that point, my hands and my mind and my musical imagination had come a long way without thinking about it. I do like it now, and I do advocate for it. And here's why. And this is just my theory. Anybody can agree or disagree or whatever. But I think pentatonic scales are a very natural thing on the guitar. We learn, let's say, G minor pentatonic. So why do I say pentatonic scales are a very natural thing on the guitar? Because the tuning of the guitar is a scrambled up minor pentatonic or major pentatonic scale. If we think in E minor pentatonic, E, G, A, B, D, E, E, G, A, B, D, E. So it's an E minor pentatonic scale. You could also look at it as a G major pentatonic scale, G, A, B, D, E. So the tuning of the guitar is pentatonic. The pentatonic boxes, I'll go back to G minor, lay pretty naturally in any given position. You know, 2 notes per string, not a lot of shifting, just a little bit of shifting, very easy to get around. And so that feels pretty easy. And then if you agree with me so far that the tuning of the guitar is a pentatonic orientation and that these boxes are very kind of easy handfuls of, like, if you're in a position, you know, from any given position, the pentatonic scales are pretty easy to find. Then the caged stuff just overlays onto that. So if here's your G minor pentatonic, there's a B flat major scale that's right there. That's part of the caged system. That's, we could say that's the G form. And then the E form is here. I know I've gone from G minor to B flat major. The caged system is major oriented. So at least that's how I think of it. So I've left G minor behind. I'm now in B flat minor. So we've got this G minor pentatonic box, but this B flat major scale. Then there's this pentatonic box. We could call it B flat major pentatonic. And then the B flat major scale lays there. And so on. All the pentatonic boxes, you can add a couple of notes and you get major scales, and there you are. As far as any kind of dogma about learning to read in caged forms, as a recovering educator, you know, from a college, I understand why it's taught that way in a lot of colleges, but in reality, on a gig where you're reading, position playing doesn't matter. I mean, you have to know where the notes are, and you have to be able to play in a musical way, which sometimes means trying different positions so that, you know, playing across the string breaks, and, you know, when you want to play legato versus, you know, to get the phrasing right. So there's no reason that when we learn to read music that we have to stay in caged boxes. In that sense, I agree with you that it can just be scaffolding that's unnecessary. But as far as getting around on the guitar, assuming that you're playing in standard tuning and that you have, you know, use of your 4 fingers and maybe the occasional wraparound thumb, I think caged is a pretty sensible way to get around on the guitar. I don't think it's the best way, or certainly not the only way, but it makes sense to me with the hands that I have and the instrument that I have. I think it's a good way to get around.